Nice to meet you.
Yeah, and I think we're gonna try to have these we'll try to have these once a quarter. So we had our first 3 months ago, and it kind of coincided with DAO Rush Week that they did it again. So I guess they're also on a quarterly schedule. But the idea is that every 3 months we can kind of have this big open call where new people can learn about what we've been up to and what's ahead, and then also have a chance to kind of get a more hands-on overview of how to join, how it all works, and a big discussion afterwards. So we're going to kick off with a 20-minute presentation where different existing dOrg members will hop in and help with the explainer of some of the materials we have ready, and then we can break out into a discussion. And since we have a lot of people here, probably won't do a direct round of intros, but everyone before speaking, anytime they have a question or comment, they can introduce themselves, and that way we can kind of get everyone's de-anonymized here if you're interested. But yeah, I see that everyone figured out how to use Jitsi. Everyone got their names in there, so we can get started. I'm going to screen share and let me know if there are any issues.
Just a comment also, we have the chat right down to the left, so you can send message and questions there.
Perfect. Welcome, everyone. This is our second virtual open house. What is dOrg? We're a development agency that's run as a DAO, and that means that we all own the entity that we're a part of working for. And so we work on client engagements, we work on internal projects, and sometimes we even spin out internal projects, and we get paid doing it. So we have a revenue model where we're basically a consulting shop, and we negotiate rates with clients pay the DAO, and then the DAO pays the builders who are executing on client deliverables. And so we have various internal systems for how we do the accounting and the tracking for that kind of work, which we'll go into later. But at a high level, the idea is that the more money you earn working for dOrg, the more power you earn over the organization. And so for every dollar you have, you also get voting credit. And the decisions on every payment, every acceptance of a new builder, or the acceptance of a new client project are all through proposals to the DAO. And then when everyone votes on those proposals, they vote with the weight of how many voting credits they have. And the voting is non-transferable, so if you earn one voting credit at a certain address, it's always at that address. And this has allowed us, this really basic foundation has allowed us to do a lot of fun, complex mechanisms on top, and to work on a lot of cool projects that we'll go into. You can learn more about the details of how it all works at our handbook there at the bottom. Yeah, so some metrics on where we're at. We incorporated and launched the DAO a little over a year ago. We've worked with lots of different projects in the space that you can kind of read about on our website. We're trying to get better about publicizing more of the work we've done and making demo videos of the projects we've done, writing articles about how to use some of the tools we've built. And some of the big projects we work with, a balancer, for example, that number is probably out of date because it's growing every day with the number of with how much value is locked into those apps. And so I can go more detail into the work we've done. I'm not going to go over everything, but this is just kind of some highlights. We have a lot of projects going on in parallel right now, and honestly need additional help because there's a whole batch of additional work that we want to get started on, but most of us are kind of full-time allocated to all these existing projects. But in the past, we've worked with clients like The Graph, DAO Stack, DXDAO, NECDAO, and SensNet. Very recently launched their token migration from the Ethereum blockchain to their native centrality blockchain. Another internal project that we're spinning out is called Web3 API, and that's come through the experience of working with all of these clients and noticing lack of tooling. And so we have a solution that Jordan will go into later that is currently kind of being the first officially spun out project of dOrg. Cool. I'll let Roberto take over with some details about how these different workflows work and how it looks like in practice. I will stop sharing.
All right, thank you, Ori. Right, so I'm sharing my screen now. Okay, everything good? You see it?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
That's right.
So we were working on this brief overview of how the organization works. This has been all an experimental process of iteration and a lot of consensus to get to this current point. So what we will show you now is how the organization is currently generating value, getting new customers, getting new recruits or members, and how we deal with the projects. So the idea is that we are all builders. Everyone who joins dOrg is a builder, is a member of equal, we all have the equal opportunities, and to get to be part of the organization, let's say you're here, you start by submitting an activation proposal. This is a proposal that you send to the DAO, and once it's submitted, all the members of the DAO are able to vote on your proposal. You have to submit something that adds value to the Web3 ecosystem, to dOrg, or to DAO's ideas in general. And once it's approved, everyone will vote. If it's approved, you will be part of an onboarding session where we explain in detail how we work, and we'll see all these flows more specifically, check the internal toolings that we have, and so on. So this onboarding session will allow you to work in projects that we have, either internal or external projects, and also to work with outreach, say looking for new clients, right? Working with sales or with recruitment, getting more people onboarded in dOrg. There's also like in chance where, say you're not able to participate for a while, like we have a deactivation part where you just get taken out of the internal, let's say, spaces, but you're also keeping the rep and you're still a member of the DAO, so you can still vote and everything. And to get started, let's say you're already a member of dOrg and you want to recruit people. So we go towards the outreach part, and what we do here is that we need to always understand what are the current needs of the organization. Say we are missing some talent right now, for example, in Solidity. So we need to do a lot of networking, getting to know the people around, and get those highly skilled prospective members to join the DAO, to be members, and to get through the funnel. And they also like do the same activation proposal flow as you did to get into the organization. But say you don't want to do recruitment, that you're more into like sales. There's a lot of people that, like everyone who's a member can source client projects to the DAO. And we have created this funnel where this new client leads get, like say, through a step-by-step process where we do like an outreach message, we meet with them through a call, we send them like a work proposal, and then we close it to bring work to the DAO. This is pretty much how we generate value. And if you don't want to like get into the building part because you're more like a salesperson, you can just stay in the sourcing of client projects. But some people want to also work on those projects that they have found. And once you are already participating in a project, you can either be a builder or you can be a project lead. So what do the builders do? It's pretty much creating, developing, iterating, researching, tackling issues, talking with the whole team, and creating new innovations and solutions. These builders are always in constant interaction with the project lead. Also, the project lead will take care of like the schedules and execute, say, for example, client and team communication, managing tasks, invoicing the clients, arranging compensation, and also team structure and allocations. The idea is that the projects that we get are in the long term. So we are working with a continuous development process, and clients should stay in the long run with us. We're long-term partners with our clients. And every now and then, clients do drop out and like the engagement with them ends. So we are trying to always get a feedback of how that experience went with the client, how they felt and everything. So we can, at a certain point, reach out again and get them back into the project development that we have. But say that you don't want to do like outreach, or you don't want to work in external projects, right? That you want to work in internal projects. We have also a separate part or processes where we generate internal value, innovate, and evolve. These are projects that are funded by the client projects that we close, and can be, say, categorized into sections, either the ventures or the operations. The operations is like what almost all businesses deal. We call them internal ops. So deer is a living organism. It needs to breathe, right? It needs to declare taxes. We're an LLC in Vermont. We have, say, hackathons, participations. We have a landing page that needs to be maintained. Clients and agents have to be satisfied with their experience. We need to onboard new members, hold these weekly calls and onboarding calls and everything. So one of the more new ideas that we're working is like, how do we influence the world, right? So thinking of this strategic planning and long-term ways to establish, say, jurisprudence or law precedents. For example, what we did with the Vermont LLC case, that now Deere was the first company to ever do it, or the first DAO to ever be recognized by USA law. And like what we're trying to do in the future is to set more cases like this that other DAOs can follow, and say that we have a technology that we want to bring out to the public, and we can, at a certain point, sponsor certain hackathons to work around those technologies. But that would be the operations part of the internal projects. And the other interesting part that we're working with are the ventures. So at first, Deer created Open Race. We are constantly working with new projects that come up from the internal members, and these projects try to be very scalable, disruptive, and bring a lot of potential. The most recent one has been Web3 API, which participated in HackFest, a hackathon sponsored by Protocol Labs, HackFest, and ETH Global, and so on. So just to show you the other part right here, which is the value flow, is like, how do we finance all of this? Like, where does the money come from? And it's all generated by those client projects that we mentioned before. Every time the DAO gets a payment, we split it up according to the budget allocations that we have previously agreed on. So right now, we take 10% of that and give it to the outreach team that got the lead. The other 10% goes to internal projects to pay for operations, recruitment, and ventures. And the big chunk, the 80%, goes toward client projects, the builders and the leads that are doing the hard work. And that's pretty much like how we manage value within the organization. So yeah, I'll now pass it on to my friend, who will continue showing you some cool stuff.
Hey, sorry, sharing my screen here. I will hop on to the next slide. One of the projects we mentioned there was the ventures that have spun out as Web3 API, so I'll let Jordan talk about what that is.
Okay, yeah, sorry for the mix-up. So Web3 API was, like Roberto was just saying, it's a venture that we're spinning out. And dOrg was the seed funder of it, since it had originated from, dOrg's experience as a dev shop. And then also some of those internal funds got spent on being able to bootstrap it. And so what it is it helps build a better bridge for the smart contract protocol to application pipeline. So typically what you'll see with smart contract protocols is they'll develop a JavaScript wrapper around their protocol to make it easier for app developers to integrate. And so the problem with this, though, is that there's no standardization around this process, and it's also JavaScript only. It'd be really, really nice if it looked like the Web2 API development process, where if you wanted to use Twitter, you simply send a REST request to Twitter's API using one of their endpoints for, let's say, like showing a list of users or creating a new post. And so we want that same experience to exist in Web3. And so that's what Web3 API is. And it achieves this through a GraphQL interface by storing packages on IPFS. And those packages consist of WebAssembly modules that run within the client. And so if you'd like to learn more about the project, how it works, and why it makes developing dApps 10 times easier, you can check it out at web3api.dev. And yeah, recently we worked on this for the HackFS hackathon. It was a finalist, and we won a bunch of prizes, and so it was definitely validating. And we're going to continue forward to spin up a venture around this project and hopefully make it production ready in the near future.
Thank you, Jordan. And lastly, Nestor will talk a bit about the activation for how to join.
Hey guys, I'm Nestor from dOrg. So as Ori was saying at the beginning, and Roberto was also mentioning it, so if any of this has piqued your interest, how would you join? How could you become a builder or a member of dOrg? Well, it's quite simple. Ori is currently showing a slide where it shows a link to our website under the membrane section. Ori, could you show that part of the page, or do you want me to share it? Yeah, I can do it.
Yeah, sure. I can stop sharing.
Okay. Here, just a second. Okay, can you guys see my screen now? Mm-hmm. Great. So this is our website. So if you drop by our website, right at the very bottom, there's a Join Us button, which will take you to exactly the link that Ori is currently showing. So here it says that if you want to join, you can get started by completing an activation challenge. So what is an activation challenge about? If you click on the link, it will take you to our handbook where it explains how the process goes step by step, what you can do, and what can you do before you start, and what can you do after you've finished. So very briefly, what you do is creating something that adds value or enables decentralized organizations. And this doesn't necessarily mean coding, because the dOrg team is bigger than just a developer team. So for example, if you're a business related person, or if business is your area, maybe designing a business plan or a business model for decentralized organizations or for a certain decentralized product, that would be something of value. If you're a designer, designing something for a cool product, or designing a better user experience for a decentralized product that already exists, that will also add value. So you have to make that activation challenge within a day. And after you complete your activation challenge, you basically go to our DAO and make a proposal for us to review your activation challenge and vote on it. The process is is described in very simple details here in the handbook, and you can play around with it. So after a prospect agent has proposed in our DAO with links to articles or code or designs from their activation challenge, we review it and we vote on it. And yeah, that's pretty much how the process goes. It's very simple, and it is something related always to your field of work. If you're a designer, you do design. If you're a business person, you do business plans, business models. If you're a developer, a front-end developer, you would do something UI related. If you're a Solidity developer, you would do something smart contract related, and so and so.
Amazing, thanks. And I'm seeing some questions in the chat, so I can quickly try to address those. So on the question of like how revenue is distributed for the projects, so that 80% that's allocated for the builders, it's mostly a local decision amongst like the, let's say 2 to 5 builders on that client project, how they're going to split up those funds. And so we have like spreadsheets kind of to help with that. They can kind of divide it up based on the proportion of time they spent towards the deliverables or on some other metric. And so that varies slightly from project to project, but basically it's up to the people who worked on that project to decide how their budget's going to be spent amongst themselves. And I would say that, yeah, templates, spreadsheets, stuff like that help make that like a lot smoother. And if there ever is a disagreement, ultimately the DAO has to approve that payout. So if there is a disagreement, like in a small subgroup, they have the larger DAO as the backdrop for like dispute resolution. The other question I saw was, sorry, if you want to follow up on that.
Yeah, just to add on top of that, like in case you're also asking about the macro, how do we distribute, like where do we get that 10%, 10%, and 80% for the revenue infographic? Like that's just an agreement. It's pretty much consensus, and it could vary as time goes by. And we're all a team, and we're humans. We have the ability to talk about it. So if we want to change those percentages, it's just a matter of talking about it, stating why that strategy might work, and discussing it, agreeing on it.
Yeah, and I saw the other question from Firebrand about LLCs or charters. And yeah, we're a member-managed LLC, so anyone who has reputation in the DAO is a member manager of that DAO, of that company in Vermont. But we have all of our service agreements designed so that for the DAO to enter into a legally binding agreement with a counterparty, a proposal needs to be passed. And you can see like an example of that, I think, in our queue right now. When we want to engage a new client, make a proposal to the DAO, hey, here's the services agreement. And if that passes, that's the signature of the company. And then for interacting with like administrators, government authorities, we can do that via proxy. So we can hire an accounting firm. Let's say we're working with Token Tax right now to file our taxes for 2019. And then we have also worked with, for example, Graville and Shea in Vermont to serve as our mailbox, as our registered agent, and to file our annual report with the State Secretary of State of Vermont. And yeah, that's our presentation. So maybe we can open it up to a discussion. Any questions from what we talked about, any comments, if someone just wants to introduce themselves. It's going to be pretty unstructured, and we can see where it goes. But we have 30 minutes, and feel free to turn your videos on, see who's around, but go at it. Also, we can ask questions to existing dOrg members, because there's a lot of us here, so that people can get better ideas of like the practicalities of like how things work.
There are some questions from Firebrand in the chat. If you want, Firebrand, you can talk them out instead of the chat. So yeah, you get answered.
Hey guys, yeah, so I'm the firebrand. Yeah, so first of all, phenomenal work. I posted a tweet a couple of seconds ago. So I used to work for Booz Allen. Booz Allen is like a large consulting company, 25,000 people. I literally talked about how blockchains will disrupt the consulting industry completely. And like what you guys are doing is absolutely this in action, right? Like this is just absolutely phenomenal, right? And so you think about how's that impossible to do, right? Like it's like you got to get people together, or you got to coordinate. Well, now you can, and now you can do it in a way that everyone benefits. So anyway, I don't have a question right now. I mean, I have a ton of questions, but I don't want to dominate with all my questions. I think this is phenomenal work you're doing, and I think this is on to beginnings of something incredibly big. So kudos to you for doing this. This is amazing.
Great. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for the tweet.
Hey guys, just want to introduce myself. My name's Pete. I've been working in the blockchain space for the last 2 or 3 years, building developer tools, mainly as a product manager. But I'm kind of working on my own now. I have an idea to launch a DAO for off-grid builders, and so I'm off-grid sustainable homes. And I work with a group of people who build earthships, and so I'm looking at creating an organization that helps people do these things, whether it's actually physically building the homes or helping legalize these structures, and kind of a wide range of things. So, but I'm interested in kind of doing some development work and product work in a DAO format to also kind of learn just the best practices and how to build these types of emergent organizations. I'm curious what type of what DAO platform you have launched on. Did you use Aragon, or what are the kind of some of the tools that you guys use behind the scenes to run a DAO?
Yeah, we use DAOstack for our DAO. We were on Ethereum mainnet like up until a month ago, where gas got really, really, really bad, and it started costing a lot to vote and propose. So we also launched our DAO on XDAI, on a DAOstack deployment on XDAI, so that now everything's super cheap, and we have kind of like our backup wallet on Ethereum mainnet, and we move funds onto the XDAI one through like swapping it. And yeah, so we use DAOstack, but we also work with Aragon a lot, like on client projects. It's like a lot of like the DeFi DAOs, for example, right now are using Aragon, and so we have a couple projects where we're like developing Aragon DAOs. It's possible Web3 API will use an Aragon DAO for any funds that it raises. So we try to be cross-platform, but yeah, we've been on DAOstack for a while.
And one other just kind of side question: what was the reason for choosing Vermont for your LLC?
Yeah, the Vermont's legislature in 2018 passed a law called like the blockchain-based LLC law, where they explicitly allowed for like company governance to be on a blockchain if you just like tick the box when you register that you're blockchain based. And so it basically gives better assurances that the entity will be held up like by the court. Technically, like since we've done that, there's been a lot of other experiments in other jurisdictions where there isn't like an explicit statute on the books, but having the statute there just gives you like a better guarantee that what you're doing will be held up.
Yeah, I think I actually, this is how I found you. I was doing some research on Vermont versus Wyoming, and I think you were mentioned in one of the posts.
That's great to know. Thanks for the feedback, Pete.
Yeah.
Hi, hello. My name is Mars. I have a question. It is a question of a general nature. I am thinking about onboarding the entire nation state into DAO. There are a few small island states. One of them is Nauru. Another one is Tuvalu. They are around 10,000 citizens. And I'm just thinking, do we have a capacity? Is the state of the tools, usability, user experience sufficiently developed to get the entire nation into DAO?
Yeah, so I think that it's definitely getting a lot better. But particularly as is a problem with all blockchain projects is like the two biggest problems are onboarding and scalability. And so as far as the onboarding problem, there are lots of really great projects that make this super simple. The same as, let's say, like making a Google or Facebook account, you can now create a blockchain-based wallet. And so that's really great for this type of an application. And then secondly is scaling. So currently, when you send transactions, you need to pay a lot of gas. Gas is getting more expensive because more demand on mainnet. And so what you could do is, there are lots of scaling solutions. And so you could utilize one of those layer 2 scaling solutions to be able to allow, let's say, 10,000 people to interact on a daily basis. So long story short, yes, the technology is sitting there and waiting to be used. But it just takes the right people to be able to make the application. It sounds like you might be muted.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. I'm using XDAI, and I am aware of some these side chains. I am observing the gas prices that are completely crazy, and I'm also thinking that sooner or later it will happen. Like I am currently actively reaching out to these small governments. So if there is someone on the call who would like to contribute, I will make the announcement on the forum, because we need to do this sooner or later. And to thank you for these words of encouragement. I will be carefully monitoring the state of the tools, and in the process we will make it easier, smoother, more accessible to everyone. So thank you for giving me this overview.
Yeah, and thanks so much to you for pushing that forward. I agree with you. It's going to happen sooner or later, and that's definitely the end goal that a lot of us are very interested in. And so yeah, feel free to join the dOrg keybase. It's listed on our website at dOrg.tech, and feel free to send messages about your project there. We would all love to talk to you about it.
Oh yeah, I think that I've actually joined some time ago, and I was a little bit confused that the DAO stack links in the footer were broken, so someone was able to help me very well.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, and I would just like add 2 cents. I love the idea of thinking big and like moving this to big scale country size. It's the future, or the present, should we say? So kudos on that.
Oh yeah, I am totally open-minded to do this on the planetary scale, do the entire global government. At the same time, okay, before we do this globally, countries like US, China, Russia are slow to move due to various political complications. But the small island states, they have like 10,000 people, GDP per capita in region of $5,000 per year. They are very desperate for the innovation and rebooting their economy because their tourism is down, the water is up, sea levels rising. So they are willing to innovate. And thank you once again. Encouragement. I will put the solid proposal in place. This will require a solid team. For instance, like a recovery of a lost account. Like if a user loses their account, a private key, theft, whatever, some attack, we need to have a way to restore their account and maybe backtrack some fraudulent actions. So this is a problem we will need to think how to solve.
Yeah, and there's definitely some solutions that exist for instance, like social recovery of private keys. And so yeah, like I would definitely love to talk to you about this to help you find the best solutions for you.
And I was also thinking about yet another problem, which is, I call it centralized decentralization or decentralized centralization. That yes, we use the decentralized technology. At the same time, we may put a trust into, say, 3 very reputable figures, say Pope, Dalai Lama, and Lady Gaga. I don't know, just 3 random people that, even though we use a decentralized technology, however, there are certain people with a great reputation that to some extent we implicitly or explicitly trust them that they will not destroy the system. So I'm just thinking about the balancing that in the initial running of the system, we may actually decide that someone will have this admin key and ensure that everything is legit.
Yep, definitely agree. Yeah, the being able to centralize at some points can certainly be a part of the design for sure.
Mhm.
Question: does the LLC send out? Is everyone 1099'd, or is it sort of self-declared on that for that type of work?
Yeah, exactly. So the U.S. Anyone who's a member who's in the U.S. will get 1099. So we hire external professional accountants to do that, and then anyone not in the U.S. is self-declared to their tax residence, and that way the DAO doesn't have to do any withholding. The DAO just pays everyone based on the proposals, and it's up to people to declare their taxes for self-employment income.
So is there some type of KYC then to join?
Nope, because the joining, you only earn $100 for the activation proposal. And then in the US, it's like if you earn $600, if you pay out $600, you have to declare. So once someone joins, they have to send their if they actually end up being active on projects, send their K9 to W8 Ben or W9 to the professional accountant, which is an external service provider, who will then keep those on file to then file the 1099s. So yeah, it's if you're actually gonna get paid in a serious way, then for the tax side of things, it's not anonymous, but you could stay anonymous to the group and to the outside world and just kind of disclose your identity to that accountant.
I see. Maybe use a ZK snark for that.
Next version, yeah.
Yeah, there's one question here. If I submit a business model idea, will I be able to delegate the development of smart contracts for it?
Yeah, so that sounds almost like hiring dOrg, or proposing a new internal venture. And any development time that we dedicate to something, we'll usually have to be paid. So right now, clients that we have engagements with, there's some statement of work, and they're paying per full-time developer that they're getting every week. So let's say they're getting 2 full-time developers for 6 weeks, and then so they'll pay on that basis. So that's kind of the structure of the paid engagements. So yeah, if there was smart contract work to be done, and someone at dOrg could work with you to make a statement of work for that.
So there's another question here I see in the chat. How big is the team? Right now, I think we have onboarded over 30 people, and we have about 20 active members. And we're located in, I think, 6 different countries right now, mostly North America and Europe.
How would you compare and contrast yourself to, let's say, a DAO like the Metacartel?
Yeah, the Metacartel and Moloch are grant DAOs, to my understanding. So they pull funds from people interested in donating to a specific cause, and then they allocate grants to anyone kind of who successfully proposes something in line with their mission statement. So I would analogize Moloch and Metacartel to nonprofit foundations, and then there's other ones like the Lao and Metacartel Ventures, which are more like VCs, where they're investing in ventures, and so they're pulling funds, and then they're deploying that capital to make a return. And whereas dOrg is like a consulting agency, so people pay us funds, and we actually give those directly to builders, building what the customer asked for. So we're like more akin to, I would say, like a small business consulting shop than yeah, like a grants entity or an investment vehicle.
Hmm.
One of the questions is there a good accounting platform for DAOs? So Ori can talk more on this, but we've been working with token tax.
Yeah, exactly. We like for, I guess, accounting is two different pieces. One is like for tax liability, which like we're using token tax, and then the other is kind of internal accounting, like bookkeeping for knowing what our expected cash flows are, what we can spend on marketing, what we can spend on sales. And so for that, we use Airtable, which is like a friendly relational database software. And so what we'll do is we'll like copy the transaction hashes from Ethereum or XDAI to this log that we keep, like more semantic info about all the payments coming in, so we can know who paid what, and that helps with the accounting. So it's not just this mess of money coming in and proposals going out. We have like a nice structured view of everything going on through that tagging that we've developed.
Yeah, and this also brings to mind like a project that we worked on a little bit, which was called Budget Blocks, and we wanted to make this kind of like a all-encompassing bookkeeping system for our on-chain operations, and trying to make it as decentralized as needed. Because yeah, we like where you said we're using Airtable and doing the manual migration of the contract interactions, but it'd be nice to have all that kind of natively supported in an application. So that's a project that we have still been talking about, and we may choose to try and seed fund and pursue in the near future.
Yeah, we still have like about 10 more minutes. So one idea maybe is that we have a couple of members from dOrg here. I don't know if you guys would like to share quickly what's your experience so far, like what you see are the benefits of being in dOrg, and like what do you see is like the difficult parts or the things that you don't like so far, or how we've been able to solve those.
I would love to speak on this. So, dOrg for me was definitely a dream because I love working on teams that are very, free form, and there's no predefined specific leader that maybe not be the best leader for that specific thing. So, and you'll find this at a lot of for instance, like being a developer working in a tech company. There's a manager of a team. And you may know something that he doesn't about a project that you're working on, but nonetheless, he's leading it. And so having freeform leadership in a cooperative-like form that dOrg provides has been really, really great on a personal level. And yeah, from a social level, it's been amazing because, yeah, I can very much choose who I work with. And yeah.
Well, for me, one of the big wins of dOrg is transparency. It's like you get the opportunity to work in a team where you can trust the people you're working with, and how much are you going to earn? Like, how much is the client paying? How much will I get rewarded for? Like, everything is transparent. There is no since this agent is a friend of X person, he's gonna get like more, or no one can see how much is the client offering or things like that. That stimulates a culture of fairness and proportionality to the work and the value that you add to the project you participate in. And for me personally, dOrg has given me the opportunity to not only be paid fairly, but be taken into account like as everybody else, which is something that that was very rare in the country where I used to live. And yes, it's been life changing because of that mostly.
Also, from a social perspective, it's super cool to know people like want to help, to the society to evolve in a super good way. Like this technology allow us to make transparency and help the world better. So yeah, it's super cool how you see that you can help on this movement, and you don't have to code to be on this. Like you can be a product manager, or yeah, or a business development. Yeah, basically it's super cool how you know people that knows a lot and can help you to basically make the world better, because we're evolving fast. So yeah, it's super cool.
Do you have a sense of how many people are full time, or how many people are doing this on the side in the organization?
Yeah, we have the data to figure that out. Off the top of my head, I think about 15 people are full time. Maybe 5 people are doing this on the side. That would be my guess, but don't quote me on that.
And also, if you look at the landing page for dOrg.tech and go down to the bottom and click on the Join Us, in there, there's a Airtable embed that shows you the active members. And you're an active member if you've been paid in the last 90 days. So there, I think that there's like 20 people there roughly who've been paid in the last 90 days. So yeah.
Yeah, and also it's definitely grown a lot in the last like 6 weeks, for example. Like as the crypto market's gotten like more activity, and dOrgs is focused more on like refining our business development flows. We've seen like a really large growth in the last 6 weeks with client projects. So now we're like starting to book clients out starting in October or later in September, because we are all busy working on client projects. And so we've been making a big push lately on the recruitment side of like bringing in more talented builders to be able to like service that demand.
Yeah, and there was also a message in the chat about possible like leak of information to competitors and things like that. So how dOrg wants to scale is we don't want to become the biggest DAO in the world that has millions of workers or what have you. We very much think that in order to make something like this work, you need high levels of trust in between the individuals to be able to make a cohesive and fair group happen. With like a maximum amount of flexibility and ownership, I guess you could say, of the operation. So what I'm trying to say is that we very much encourage others to spin up their own DAOs if they would like to mimic and replicate what dOrg is currently doing. We'd be very interested in talking with you and helping you do that because, yeah, we don't want to be the one and only. We want to see a large ecosystem flourish of different organizations so that there's plurality of employment.
Well, it seems really cool. I'm very interested in going through your process.
Awesome. We would definitely love to have you. Everyone's welcome to hop in the chats, do the activation proposal, message anybody. Yeah.
I
Sounds
would
awesome.
say something to all you. Thank you so much for being here. It really means a lot that every single one of you humans are here. And if you guys were interested, I would like to tell you that the reason why we do this is because we want to change the world. We're not working here for the buck. We could definitely get way more work and more bucks elsewhere. So if you believe in this cause, join our movement and hit us up if you have any questions as far as how to join and how to make the best out of your activation proposal.
Awesome. I think that concludes it. If there's no last words, thank you guys for coming. This has been really nice.
Thank you, everybody.
Great.
Bye. Thank you.
I'll see you.
See you in the chats, and yeah,
Key-based
reach out if you
okay?
want
Send me the
to
link.
have a call or need any help with an activation proposal.